on average, the salary is $300 a month. So when you can come to these people and offer them opportunities where you're paying them $800, $1,000, $1,200, but when you're giving them these opportunities, it is changing their life, and it is changing not just their life, but the community around them.
Welcome to the Thriving Workplace Podcast,
the show that empowers your workplace to make a positive impact on your people, teams, and the entire organizational community.
Whether you're an employee, manager, or executive, we've got something for you.
Dive into inspiring ideas, practical tips, and meaningful conversations about employee well-being.
We're your hosts, Lauren and Jason, passionate workplace well-being champions from the Workplace Performance and Wellbeing Institute.
Join us as we bring in renowned experts and thoughtful leaders to share their wisdom, experiences, and innovative approaches to building a thriving workplace. Welcome back to another episode of the Thriving Workplace Podcast. This week, we're joined by an epic legend. This woman is a passionate entrepreneur and owner of Level Up Outsourcing, a 7-figure outsourcing agency pairing business owners with online experts in the Philippines. Since beginning this business just 3.5 years ago, she's quickly scaled the business to have over 90 staff and won multiple business awards. And she's now on a mission to empower people around the world to live their dream lives through business strategies and breaking through limiting beliefs. So please welcome to the podcast, our friend, Taylor Victoria. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Wow, what an intro. I'm so excited to be here.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time on this podcast, Taylor. And I'm so excited for this podcast too. Let's just start by getting to know a little bit about Taylor Victoria. So tell us maybe a bit about your story, where you started, and now what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So I guess in terms of my business story and how I got to where I am today, so I was studying university, communications and advertising at university. I finished my degree. I did a 6-month internship. I started applying for jobs as they tell you to do in school. This is the normal path, right? You go to school, you go to university, you start applying for jobs. Nobody would hire me. I applied for maybe 50 to 60 jobs all around Australia. I was willing to move, and everybody kept saying, you don't have enough experience. And so I thought, screw this. If nobody's going to hire me, I'm going to pave my own path. And I started my very first business, which was called Millennial Girls Media. It was a social media management company. So we were helping small businesses with their social media management. Very quickly learned that I had no idea about systems, processes, building a team, how to generate leads, how to make a sale, because I'd never worked in an agency before, or I was just really making stuff up as I went along. And I decided to move to Bali to go all in on my business because I was living in Canberra previously and I really didn't like Canberra. So I moved to Bali when I was only making $600 a month, and my rent alone in Bali was $700 a month. So from day one in Bali, I really had to figure my stuff out very, very quickly, which was such a pivotal learning lesson for me, is not giving yourself a plan B, not giving yourself a backup option, because then you almost create an out in your own brain. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to go all in on this, but if it doesn't work, then here's a nice little plan B. I didn't have a plan B. If I didn't figure out how to make money, I was sleeping on the beach in Bali. Like that's how desperate times it was. So really had to learn very quickly how to figure my stuff out, and actually found an amazing lady over in Bali, and we went into business partnership together to start a digital marketing company. We were helping real estate agents in America to sell more houses by running their Facebook ads and doing YouTube videos for them. But I quickly learned I'm not very passionate about helping middle-aged men in America sell houses. And so basically, I sort of said I wanted to leave that business. She bought me out, and that is when I started Level Up Outsourcing, because we had all of these amazing staff in our agency that were from the Philippines. They were so highly skilled and highly talented, very hardworking, very driven, and I felt like there was a lot of business owners out there that didn't know about outsourcing, didn't know that you can hire remote team members overseas for a very affordable rate, and they're still such amazing high quality team members. And so we started Level Up Outsourcing just off the back of the first wave of COVID. COVID actually worked in our favor in that regard because it opened up everyone's minds to remote work and working from home opportunities. And that was actually nearly 4 years ago now, which is crazy. And as you mentioned, we have over 90 staff in the Philippines, which is mind-blowing that I'm responsible for nearly 90 people. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I absolutely love it. It definitely has its challenges, but I'm so happy with the team that I have, and I'm so proud of what we've been able to achieve so far.
That's an amazing story.
So amazing. Literally going from 600 a month in Bali, almost forced to sleep on the beach, like you said, to now running, a multiple 7-figure business. It's, so crazy. Awesome job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So my first question then is all around outsourcing. How could someone use outsourcing effectively? Because I know we've used outsourcing in the past and it's sort of just gone to nothing. And it wasn't until recently where we've actually got our systems in place. Now we're able to rehire and re-outsource, and now that's working so much better. So how could people use outsourcing effectively?
Yeah, so I think your guys' journey really nails it. The systems and the processes are the main things that really will determine whether you have a successful journey with outsourcing or whether you do not have a successful journey with outsourcing. And I mean, when you think about it, it really makes sense. If you hired a local team member and you had no systems or processes and you said to them, hey, this is what I need you to do, but I don't know how I want you to do it. Just go ahead and do it. It probably wouldn't be done in the way that you want. It probably wouldn't be the quality that you want. And people think that when you're outsourcing, for some reason, they think that it's going to be different if you have no systems or processes, but it's really not. So that's one of the biggest things that we focus on when we are working with new clients. We have over 70 plug and play standard operating procedures they can implement straight into their business. And we also make sure that for all of the key responsibilities that they want their staff member to do, they create video recordings of themselves doing that process. So before, if they don't have time to map it all out and put it into a document, actually while you're doing those processes, start a Zoom session with yourself and share the screen and record, or Loom if people have a Loom subscription as well, and actually just go through that process and say, okay, at the moment, I'm going to be onboarding the client. This is where we go to set up their Google Drive folder. We create folder 1, folder 2, folder 3. Then we come into Monday.com, which is our project management system, and we tick that task as complete, and we move on to the next task and start to actually record those processes. And then that way you don't actually need many documents, because if you just record yourself while you're working, those videos act as training manuals and standard operating procedures. And then it's so much easier to onboard a team member, because you can say, okay, this is what I need you to do today. Here's the video that's going to teach you how to do it. Can you please go ahead and do that? And then they just do it. And it's much easier than having to map out in a document, okay, step 1, do this, and then add screenshots and click here and blah, blah, blah. So that would definitely be my recommendation. If somebody hasn't started outsourcing before, but they want to outsource and they're not quite sure where to start, before you even consider outsourcing, just start to record some of those processes, video recordings, or mapping it out in a document. And that really is going to help to set you up for success, which is what you guys have now discovered.
Yeah, we definitely have discovered that firsthand. And on that, for us, outsourcing has been, an amazing opportunity to be able to delegate tasks and take things off of our plate, so we can show up as the best version of ourselves and be more in our zone of genius. And I feel that it's definitely helped our business grow as well.
100%.
So to people maybe listening to this and they're saying, okay, outsourcing sounds great, but there's something in their heads that may be stopping them, whether they're running a big corporate business or a small business, whatever it is. We talk to so many people in corporates as well, and they're too scared to maybe delegate tasks, and they feel like they have to do everything themselves. What is something that you would say to that person?
Yeah, so I encounter this a lot. People are very fearful to let go of control. And especially for smaller business owners, we work with a lot of creatives, a lot of digital marketing owners, photographers, videographers. And so they build their business around their own creativity, their creative process, the eye that they have for design, the eye that they have for capturing videos or photos or whatever it is. And so then to try and outsource that editing or the creative design to somebody else, it feels like, well, no, nobody could do it like I can do it. I think the thing to keep in mind, if you do want to scale your business, it is better to have something done at 95% perfection of how you would do it in comparison to not having it done at all because your plate is so full that you don't have time to get to it. So even if the person can't complete it to 100% of your satisfaction, if they can only get it to 95% of your satisfaction, isn't it better that it's done than not having it actually done? I think that's the main thing. And it really does come down to the goals of the person and the goals of the organization. Some sole traders and small business owners are actually happy to not scale. And we have a couple of clients and they have staff, just part-time staff that they've been working with for nearly 4 years now, and they're not planning to grow. They're not scaling. They're just maintaining because their business gives them a lifestyle that they love and that they're really happy with. And that's totally fine. Whereas there's other business owners out there that we're in circles of business owners where they want to change the world. They want to make a massive impact. They want to scale and grow and really just do epic stuff around the world. And you can't do that if you're trying to do everything yourself. So you have to get to a point where you're willing to outsource and willing to let go of control of some of those things and accept that maybe it's only going to be done to 95% of your standard, but at least it's done because then you can focus your time on a higher ROI activity.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And it's so applicable even to people that we talk to, like teachers, because I feel that people, in their career and in their profession and their daily sort of work life, put so much pressure on themselves to do everything, even though for teachers, for example, they might have a teacher aide, they might have this, but they don't want to give them the task because, like you said, Taylor, maybe they want to do it themselves because they feel like it's going to get done better. But then they put so much on their plates, they have no work-life balance, and then they burn themselves out. They can't do any of the tasks anyway. So I feel like that's such an important thing to put to people is it's better to have it done than not have it done at all.
Yeah.
And to also think about that work-life balance and what's important to you. Mm-hmm. You said about that business owner creating that lifestyle that they love. I feel like that's sort of, the important piece here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I
suppose
can relate.
Yeah. I suppose as well, just touching back on that teacher and having that sense of control. I was definitely one of those people that's like, I don't want to lose. I don't want to give that away because what if XYZ happens? And you start to just think of all the negative things. So then if people are listening to this, it's just come to me. What helped me was just to start with smaller tasks. Just get, thinking back to my teaching career, it was just to get the teacher aide to do this little thing. And then eventually I would build it upon that. And that's the same with our journey with outsourcing as well. And I'm sure, Taylor, you've experienced the same. We started with just giving them a little task, and it might just be, I can't even think of one, creating, say, like a social media post. And now we're up to a stage where our podcast editing is being outsourced. All of our graphic design work is being outsourced. It's all, just building. And eventually we are able to let go of that control, knowing that, like you said, done is better than perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And it comes down to a level of trust too.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually you can get to a stage where, for example, like I have a COO, a chief operations officer that I've hired that helps me run the business, that's helping me implement our strategic business plan, that's helping me manage the team of nearly 100 staff over in the Philippines. And they are in the Philippines. They're not in Australia. I definitely am not in a stage in my business where I could afford to hire a really high-level COO in Australia, because you'd be paying at least 150 to 200 grand per year. So I just found a really epic high-level COO over in the Philippines. I get the same quality of staff member, but it's much more affordable because of the cost of living difference. The average wage in the Philippines is actually only $300 per month, Australian dollars per month, which is like less than 200 US dollars a month. Obviously, in different areas, it's slightly higher if they're in the cities and stuff like that. But on average, the salary is $300 a month. So when you can come to these people and offer them opportunities where you're paying them $800, $1,000, $1,200, or like my COO now gets a lot more than that. But when you're giving them these opportunities, it is changing their life, and it is changing not just their life, but the community around them. I remember one time I was nearly in tears on one of our team calls, because our HR manager, on our Friday team calls, we share our wins for the week. And our HR manager shared a personal win instead of a win in the company. And it was that she'd finally been able to afford to buy mattresses for everybody in her family, because they had never had mattresses before.
Wow.
And I was just nearly in tears, because in Australia, you don't really think about the fact that there's still people in the world living without mattresses. Like, I'd actually just never really thought about that truly before. And then when my HR manager was like, oh, we finally can sleep on mattresses, I was like, holy crap, like the impact that we have, we just don't even realize. We're so fortunate. And for us, we're just outsourcing these little tasks, and it's giving us time back in our day. And it seems like a small, minute thing, but for them, it can actually change their life. And that's something that I'm really passionate about as well. Is there's so many benefits for us, but for them, it's just like exponentially more beneficial to have these sorts of opportunities. So if we can provide jobs to people in third world countries or in developing countries, like, that's so amazing. The fact that we have that opportunity, we have the internet, we can work with people in third world countries and give them these amazing opportunities to better their families' lives, the community around them. So I think that's just another big benefit of outsourcing that people maybe don't think about, because you don't hear about it too often, how your the wages that you're paying are impacting the bigger community. But I hear about it very often because we obviously have so many staff. And so it's really rewarding to hear about these sorts of things and how you're actually changing people's lives by just giving them some extra work that you don't want to do, and you can really make such a big impact.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Never think of it like that.
No, you don't.
That's made me feel really good about our outsourcing.
100%. Yeah. My next question for you, Taylor, is around, either outsourcing, or if you're hiring here in Australia, or if you've got team here in Australia as well, all around the team and hitting KPIs. How do you ensure your team are hitting their KPIs?
Yeah, so essentially we have created what I call a success spreadsheet. So every Monday we meet with the whole team and we go through everyone's KPIs. And so in our success spreadsheet, we firstly have a column where we list out the specific KPIs of each team member. And then we take it a step further. We don't just list out those KPIs. We also list out what is considered unsatisfactory, what is considered met, what is above expectations, and what is exceeding expectations. And so this makes it super clear for everybody in the team, not only how they can just meet the basic requirements and do the bare minimum, but how they can actually go above and beyond in their role. And I think that's not something that people typically think about when outsourcing, because a lot of the time it is a lower level task. So you're just saying, okay, well, if it's done, it's done. But these people, they want to be able to grow and progress and learn more and have career progression. And so if we can show them, okay, this is how you can go above and beyond in your role. And then if they're consistently doing that all the time, then maybe we can give them a raise. Maybe we can give them some commissions. Maybe we could progress them up the ladder in the company, whatever it is. And this works so well with outsourced team members, but also local team members as well, giving them a really clear direction on how you can actually meet the expectations or go above or exceeding. And that has been a game changer since implementing that in my business. It makes it so clear for everyone how they're going in their role. We don't have to do quarterly performance reviews or annual performance reviews, because every Monday they're giving me their performance on how they're going in their role. And so if people are consistently unsatisfactory, we know, okay, they either need to be given some extra training because I haven't taught them well enough how to meet that KPI, or they're just actually underperforming in their role. And then it makes it really easy if you do need to have that difficult conversation with them and say, look, unfortunately, this isn't working out anymore. You can say, instead of saying, hey, I feel like you haven't been performing in the role, it's like, hey, you've reported to me for the past 4 Mondays that you're unsatisfactory in all 5 of your main KPIs. I've hired you to solve these problems in my business, and unfortunately, you're not solving these problems in your business, and you're reporting to me that you're unsatisfactory. So we're not going to be able to continue to work together anymore. So there's so many benefits of making it really clear for the team in terms of like what is unsatisfactory all the way up to exceeding expectations. There's just so many benefits. They'll perform better. It makes it easier if you have to let people go. The whole company is very aligned on their goals and the vision and everything that they're working towards. So that would definitely be my number one recommendation, is making sure to really clearly map out for every single person what's unsatisfactory all the way up to exceeding expectations.
Yeah, that's something that we've recently implemented the last few weeks. And I mean, we've been doing it for ourselves, and then we brought our sort of outsourcing team on board as well. And it's made such a difference. And you're right, they love it because they feel like they're part of the team, instead of you just delegating the task going, get that done. Okay, cool, thanks, get that done. But they actually see a bit more of a vision, and they see the direction that you're going in, and they feel accountable. It makes such a different energy around it too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
for sure.
On that, actually, I have a question. I know you have a question.
That's
too.
right. You go.
Well, I'm just wondering, I know you spoke about having that difficult conversation if they're not performing.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, though, is there ways of increasing motivation and performance? Because obviously it's different for everyone. Some people are motivated by different things.
Yeah.
And performance management is something that we come across when we talk to our clients here at WPWI, because for a manager, it is something that it increases their stress levels when they feel like their team are underperforming and they don't know how to get them to the performance level that they need them to create this efficiency in the organization. So what have you maybe done in your business, or have you seen being done to increase performance and motivation?
Yeah, so a few things. Firstly, I think it's really beneficial, and it sounds weird, but get everyone in your team to do the love languages test and figure out what they're actually motivated by. Are they motivated by gifts? Are they motivated by words of affirmation? Are they motivated by acts of service? Because then it's so easy for you as a leader to show up and know, okay, well, Sarah's motivated by gifts, so I'm going to offer her some movie tickets and a dinner voucher if she hits her KPIs this month. But Tom, he's motivated by acts of service, so I'm going to offer to give him 2 extra mentoring sessions next month if he can hit his KPIs. So that is definitely a first point of action. If you don't know what motivates people in your organization, do the love languages test, get really, really clear on that. I think tying people's compensation into the main KPIs that they're expected to hit as well, it was another big game changer for me in the business. So sure, it's great to have people's KPIs outlined and we go through it every Monday, but if their monthly or quarterly bonuses are tied into those KPIs, they're going to be 10 times more motivated to hit those KPIs and reach out to you if they feel like they're not able to achieve the KPIs, because they're going to be thinking, oh, well, I really want to get this bonus at the end of the quarter. I need to figure out how to solve this problem and why I'm not meeting this particular KPI. So I think that's definitely another thing. But I guess if you have people in your team that are underperforming, I really do think it comes down to, firstly, communication. Just have a sit down, have a chat with them and say, look, these are the expectations of your role. You're currently underperforming in XYZ area. Do I need to provide you some extra training there? Is there something going on at home that we maybe don't know about that's affecting your performance at work? Like, it really does, I think, come down to a case-by-case basis, because at the end of the day, we're working with humans. We're not working with robots. People have family issues. They might have broken up with their girlfriend and they're feeling depressed, or they might be considering leaving, going to another job because they really hate one of their team members or whatever it is. You actually just never know what could be going on in their life that is affecting their ability to achieve their KPIs. So I think that would definitely be my first point of action. If there's managers listening, if you have team members that aren't hitting their KPIs, I really just think have a conversation with them first, see what's going on. And maybe it's just they need a little bit of extra training and they don't feel confident in some of those areas. And that's so easy to solve. Or maybe they just need a couple of days off because they're feeling so burnt out that they don't know how they could possibly cope with hitting these particular KPIs, whatever it is. But you just need to understand first. And then if it's a lack of skills, you can provide extra training. That's very easy to solve. If it's just they're actually not putting in the effort and consistently over and over again, you can see that they're not doing the work and putting in the effort, then you just would need to go to your boss and say, look, this person is consistently not putting in the steps to meet these KPIs. I don't think they're the best person to solve this problem for us in the business. Because at the end of the day, every role in the business is just there to solve a problem. You're there to solve a bottleneck. You're there to fix a constraint. You're there to alleviate workload from somebody else, whatever it is. You're there to solve a problem. And so if you're not solving that problem, it doesn't make sense to keep employing you. So it's very easy then, if you're a manager, just go to the business owner or your boss and say, look, this person isn't hitting their KPIs. They're not solving problems for us. They're creating more problems. So it just doesn't make sense to keep them. That would be my best advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I loved how you touched on that they're human beings as well, because we talk about all the time, we need to remember that we are human beings. We're not human doings. Yeah. So yes, we may go to work every day, and yes, we've got certain tasks we need to do every day. But at the end of the day, we're a human being. We're not going into work like a monkey or like a robot, like you said, just to get the task done and then leave. We are human beings at the end of the day.
Yeah. And everything's interrelated. What's happening at home is happening at work. And, I think it's an old mindset of, well, you leave your home life at the door. And it's like, well, why can't you bring your whole self to work? And I think that's why it's so vital to have those sorts of conversations where, what is happening at home? Is there something we can do to support you through that? It's an employee's responsibility to also help their people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a
bit of a more personal question, I suppose, Taylor.
Yeah.
No, you
go. Yeah, you go.
Sorry, I think we have a bit of a lag. I was just going to say, I think that
we do have a little bit, yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that is definitely something that's very important to remember in terms of outsourcing as well, because people think that, I'm just paying these people to, they're just low-level employees. I'm not paying them much, so they just need to get the work done and blah, blah, blah. They don't really consider the fact that this person actually is a human. They should be involved in all of the team meetings. They should know the vision of the company, the mission that you're on. Yes, maybe they are helping with those lower level tasks, but that doesn't mean that they're not a human that is driven by being a part of a team. That doesn't mean that they don't need someone to check in with them and see how they're going every once in a while, and still have catch-ups and all of that sort of stuff. It is quite common, unfortunately, with outsourcing overseas, that people tend not to treat them like normal employees, like a local employee, I guess. So it's, just definitely something to be mindful of when outsourcing. Just really treat them like they're a team member that would come into the office, because they are a part of your team, and they have the exact same emotions and feelings and family and problems and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I love that. So a personal question I want to ask you, Taylor.
Yep.
Being now a 7-figure business owner yourself, how do you take care of your well-being and manage your own well-being?
Oh no, the dreaded question that I'm really bad at.
I've been taught.
Okay, so if I'm being 100% honest, it's not a skill that I am very good at yet. I'm still learning, just because I'm so passionate about my business, and I love it. And working to me doesn't feel like work; it feels like fun. And so then when you've been working for 10 to 12 hours a day, and you get to the end of the day, and you're like, holy crap, now I need to like go home and cook dinner and like still figure out like how to have time for myself and look after myself. And it's definitely a difficult balancing act that I'm still perfecting. One thing, though, that has been really beneficial for me, and I think you guys actually work with Dr. Dan as well, but working with Dr. Dan to try and fix my some health issues that I was dealing with, he gets me in trouble if I don't go and do things like go to the sauna or do a meditation or all of these sorts of things. Like, he grills me. He's like, Taylor, you're an entrepreneur. You're somebody who you achieve your goals. You do what you say you're going to do. And you told me you were going to go to the sauna and relax. So why didn't you go to the sauna and relax? And I'm like, whoa, okay, Dan, like, I'll go to the sauna, chill out. So it's been really beneficial, I guess, having somebody hold me accountable and putting things in place to try and develop habits around these things. So, for example, now I have an alarm set for 7 p.m. every night that says, go to the sauna or Dan will kill you, because Dan will legit kill me if I don't go to the sauna. So, and now I have alarms in the mornings to meditate. So I think for me, it's just a pattern interrupt. I need a pattern interrupt because my brain's so work orientated all the time, and I don't think of it myself. So I put it in my calendar or I set an alarm, and I've figured out what works the best for me. So I don't do like half an hour meditations every morning. I'll do like a quick 5 or 10 minute meditation 2 or 3 times a week, just when I can fit it in. I go to the sauna 2 or 3 times a week as well in the nighttime. I make sure to exercise every single day. I think those are probably the non-negotiables, exercise especially, because when you're lifting weights or doing a pump class or a F45 class or whatever it is, you can't be thinking about work because you're thinking about, oh my God, this weight's so heavy, trying to like push it up. So I think for me, it's just been putting things in the calendar, having those pattern interrupts, just having a couple of non-negotiables, and then giving myself at least 1 day per week where I don't open my laptop. So Sundays, I don't even open my laptop at all. I'll usually do a half a day maybe on Saturday, and like I'll go and do something fun in the morning and work in the afternoon. Sundays, no laptops. Those are my non-negotiables for myself so far. But as I said, it's still a skill that I'm developing. I'm maybe not the best at yet, but I'm sure I'll learn in the next 5 or 10 years. Maybe I'll get really good at it. You never know.
And I loved how you said that work to you is fun. So that shows that you're in your thriving state anyways. So even though you are working, you're enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
So essentially, that is a part of your well-being, which is great.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about Dr. Dan as well, and Dr. Dan will literally kill you. Literally 5 minutes before we jumped on this podcast this morning, I sent Dan a message saying, hey, this isn't working. What's going on? And he literally said, well, you're not following my instructions. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I love it.
Yeah.
Also does
It really reflects on how important it is to have someone
100%.
Definitely.
someone to keep you accountable is really important as well.
Yeah.
And give you some guidance too. I think in this world, like there's so much information out there and so many things people say, do this, do this, do this. But it's like finding what works for you and maybe finding someone to keep you accountable, someone to give you some guidance or just, some expert help as well is really important in this journey of well-being.
Yeah. And if any of our listeners are wondering who on earth is this Dr. Dan person,
We had an episode with him.
that's what I was going to say. Go back and listen to the episode that we had with Dr. Dan on our podcast. It is gold. He drops so much bangers, so much just value. And then you'll understand why Taylor, Lauren and I are all like, okay, we've got to do this because he's going to be on to us. Yeah.
Good. I love it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on this podcast. I know we could talk to you for literally hours because you're so easy to talk to and I absolutely love your energy. And if the listeners want to maybe connect with you or find out more about your business and maybe helping them outsource, where can they find you and your business?
Yeah, sure. So you could just Google Level Up Outsourcing. You'll be able to find us on Google, all of the social platforms. If you want to come and say hi to me on social media, it's taylor.victoria. I'm sure you guys will link it in the show notes. I'd love to hear from people what their biggest takeaways were. If you are struggling with the concept of letting go of control and you're not sure how to outsource, please just shoot me a message on Instagram. I'll be more than happy to help you out, jump on a call, give you some advice, whatever it is. So yeah, love to connect with your audience. And thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been super fun.
Thanks,
Amazing.
Taylor. Yeah, we'll definitely put that in the show notes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Taylor. It's been absolutely amazing. Our final question that we like to ask all of our guests, if you were to give 30 to 60 seconds of advice to our listeners right now, now it might be advice that we've already talked about. It might be something completely different. What would that be?
I think feel the fear and do it anyway. That's my biggest life motto, or not motto, but something that I try to live by every day, because I have had the most exponential, crazy amounts of personal growth and success when I do things that scare the crap out of me. So now if I feel scared to do something, I'm like, oh no, I have to do this because I know that it's going to give me the most growth possible. And I think that too many people don't do things that scare them and then they feel regretful because they wish that they had have done it. And I don't want to get to the end of my life and have regrets. And I'm sure all of your listeners also don't want to have regrets. So if you're feeling scared to do something, just jump in, do it anyway. And I can guarantee you that it will pay off.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode.
If you got value from this episode, it would mean the world to us if you could take 20 seconds out of your day and leave a 5-star rating and written review.
And remember, you have the power to make a lasting change in your workplace.